If you'll notice, in the upper corner of this bag, of this suitcase, is a small bag of cocaine. About a half a kilo was in the bag itself. This is just a small portion of money. $10 million a day across the borders into Texas alone. This does not include any other state. So you can imagine the magnitude and the power that a drug cartel that has this much money involving every day is a threat to our nation. Zetas are involved in the protection of the drug cartels. They are also involved in smuggling drugs into the country, kidnapping of individuals, and also contract murders. It is believed that these military units have been involved in a number of shootings across the border into the United States. In July of 2006, in Hidalgo County, sheriff deputies came under fire by automatic weapons. More than 400 rounds were fired at the American law enforcement from across the border. This nation is at war. We are at war within our own borders. You need look no further back than June of 2006, when more than 254 law enforcement officers were assaulted along the borders of Texas and Mexico. These attacks were, these officers received in these attacks gunshot wounds, stabbings, severe beatings. This nation is at war. On July the 4th, 2005, members of the United States Border Patrol was ambushed in the Narco Mountains of Arizona by a unit of the Republic of Mexico's National Army. This nation is at war. January 23rd, 2006, individuals dressed in military uniforms, carrying military-styled weapons, using military-style vehicles with mounted machine guns, intervened to prevent a drug shipment from being intercepted by United States law enforcement officers near Fabens, Texas at Neely's Crossing. These units provided cover while the cartel members recovered the drug shipment from a vehicle which had become stranded in the Rio Grande River in an attempt to return to Mexico after being pursued by the Texas Department of Public Safety troopers. This nation is at war. In February of 2006, an American Black Hawk helicopter assigned to the Department of Homeland Security was shot from the skies over El Paso, Texas. It is clear by the factual testimony above that all individuals who cross the borders into this nation are not simply poor immigrants coming here looking for a job. Let there be no misunderstanding. Those individuals, and let's call them what they are, illegal aliens, pose a significant threat to the way of life of the citizens of the United States and the actual sovereignty and freedom of our nation. It is a sad day in this nation that people who are here illegally can storm the streets of our cities and demand upon the United States taxpayer that they continue to pay and provide them with welfare, social service programs, free health care, and to educate their children. It is a sad day in this nation when those illegal individuals demand that the American citizen, you, step aside and allow them to come forward and receive free of charge the citizenship to this nation. The citizenship to this nation is not free. There is a price to pay. Cemeteries around the world are dotted with the names of those patriots who have paid the ultimate sacrifice and have given their lives for the freedom that we have in this nation. I have stood on the banks of the Rio Grande River and watched entire families wade its muddy waters into this nation. Each and every day along the borders of this nation, truckloads of narcotics freely drive across the border into our nation to be delivered to our children. Each and every day along the borders of this nation, there are incursions by the military of the Republic of Mexico. The United States government released a finding last year that said 219 incursions had occurred over the past 10 years. That many incursions actually happen each and every year, but that many incursions. But now we all have heard the tragic story of Border Patrol agent Ramos and Capion, two American patriots who are paying the price for defending our nation and for defending us. On February 3rd of 2007, Border Patrol Agent Ramos was brutally attacked by 5 illegal aliens in his prison cell at the Federal Institute at Yazoo, Mississippi. He received a severe beating, and at this time he is still suffering from that beating. Agent Ramos was denied medical treatment by the government of this nation for 5 days after that beating. Many questions still remain surrounding the circumstances that led up to the incarceration of these 2 agents. One is, why was these agents not being protected from the violent inmates at the prison in Yazoo, Mississippi? The prison at Yazoo, Mississippi is a federal institution that's made up of 65% illegal alien drug dealers. Why in the world would they ever sentence a Border Patrol agent to that place? I do not believe that Jeff Skilling of Enron is near the danger in his federal prison that Ramos and Capion are in theirs. I make a suggestion that the President of the United States order immediate transfer, put Jeff Skilling in their place and them in his. We do have some... Thank you. We do have some good news concerning Agent Ramos. He has been transferred out of that prison within the last month, and he is now at a federal institute in Phoenix, Arizona. Still in solitary confinement for 23 hours a day, but in a much safer condition, and he is much closer to his family so that they can visit him more often. We believe that these agents, and I think there is no doubt that they are just victims of the war along the border. The war that is being waged against us, not only by drug dealers and human smugglers and terrorists, but also our own government. It is our government that targeted these agents and led to their prosecution and ultimately their incarceration in the prison. Law enforcement officers all along the border region of this nation has been stripped of the ability to do their job by our own government. Due to the relentless restrictions and rules of engagement that are placed upon our officers along the border, their hands are literally tied, and each and every day they are forced to retreat from some areas because of their rules of engagement. In fact, law enforcement officers in this country, when they come under attack from somebody across the border, they are restricted by the United States State Department from defending themselves or returning fire across the borders into Mexico. Their options are made very clear to them by superiors. They can retreat, they can take cover, or they can surrender. To surrender to a drug cartel or a military unit is certain death. And in May of 2006, a 23-year-old Border Patrol agent fell into the hands of one of these groups. This agent's body and severed head was recovered from the Rio Grande River near Laredo, Texas. Civilians along this nation's borders are not exempt from the violence that takes place in these areas. In fact, in 2006, 56 individuals were kidnapped from the city of Laredo. 43 of these individuals are American citizens. And these are the kidnappings that are known. There are a number of kidnappings that go unreported. The kidnapping of individuals from this country, returning them to Mexico, has become big business along the borders of this nation. Many times people are kidnapped along the border simply by how much money they have available on a credit card. When me and you think about a kidnapping, we think about kidnapping some rich person, collecting millions of dollars and retiring in the Bahamas. It's not that way in Mexico. They will kidnap you for $500. They will literally do a credit check on you, find out that you have a credit card in your wallet that has a $5,000 or $6,000 available balance. They will snatch you for that very amount of balance. The worst thing you can have in your pocket along the borders of this nation is a credit card with an available balance. It is nothing more than an invitation to be kidnapped.